when I got to my freshman year at Morgan in Baltimore, a guy was running for class president during our freshman orientation week, and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in being my vice president?" And I thought, well, this is a chance for me to get out of my comfort zone and start, trying to do what I had promised I would do, become more outward in terms of my personality. And so I signed up to do that with him. And we ran for it, and he became president. I became vice president of my freshman class at Morgan. He didn't come back for second semester, which led me to becoming the president of my freshman class. So I went from there to being the next year, I decided to run for class president and was the sophomore class president. That was the same time that I also started doing other activities. I thought about pledging and decided to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi, Alpha Iota chapter in my sophomore year at Morgan. And that was also, again, for me to come out, this persona of being this shy, quiet person. And so that was what kind of caught his attention, and it gave me some name recognition. Well, also the members of Kappa Alpha Psi saw that in me, and so they saw me as the guy that could probably be the guy that could be leading their step show. And so anyway, I looked at Kappa Alpha Psi as, you know what, I think I could contribute to Kappa and make Kappa better. That's why I wanted to pledge Kappa, because I saw something in them that I thought I could help make better. And so that was one of the things that led to me to pledge Kappa. And then with my roommates, all scholars and guys that were involved, we all decided at one time we pledged Kappa, and that's kind of what drew me to Kappa, and that's why I ended up pledging. And I think the other part I really learned about is brotherhood, meaning that never pass a brother by. That is ingrained in me. So when guys sometimes don't realize that it's all right to get in a disagreement with a brother in a chapter, but you never leave a brother behind, that you always, after that meeting is over, you get back in the same, in good graces with that brother. And what people don't understand, there's no different in your family. You're not always going to be on the same accord with your biological family. You're going to have your differences, but it's the fact that that's your biological brother or sister or cousin that always brings you back. And it's got to be the same thing with brotherhood. It's that thing that brings you back. I've had guys that I have had serious arguments with, but at the end of the day, we come together and we pass the loving cup, and it really renew our brotherhood. One of the things that I prided myself on as an undergrad, and I still do this today, is that I don't have a clique. I get along. I was one of those brothers that got along with all brothers. I mean, for the most part. I mean, understand that a lot of chapters have different makeup of different brothers. Like you have some brothers that's going to get their smoke on. You got some brothers that's going to get their drink on. You got some brothers that's going to get their party, their groove on. And I was one of those guys that I earned a lot of respect because I was able to mingle and enter to any of those groups and be respected. And to me, that is what I would encourage young brothers to be willing to do today, is that, don't limit yourself to the 2 or 3 brothers that's on your line that you came in with. Don't limit yourself to the guys from upstate New York or New Jersey, or those guys that's in the military with you. Don't limit yourself, because if you do that, you lose, brotherhood and friendship with a lot of people. Well, as many brothers know by now, we lost our daughter Lauren about 15 years ago in a car accident. She was a student at Morgan State. And I tell you what, that was one of the hardest things I would probably endure in my life. It also affects my own mortality, because at that point after that, I really didn't care about my own life, in the sense that, worried about how long you're going to live. And it reminded me of the importance of living every day and making every day count. So for years, my wife and I have had fundraisers to raise money for Morgan State University, because when Lauren passed, initially for her funeral, we took donations from Make-A-Wish Foundation. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we did that because we saw how it was helping other folks. We then changed that to, they had a memorial service for Lauren at Morgan, and Morgan's chapel was falling apart. So my wife and I decided to, let's do a fund to raise money to help, renovate Morgan's chapel. And we had dances and other fundraisers and raised $106,000. Now you're talking to a person that never even before that had raised probably 500 for any cause. Uh, and so for, but it was just something that, it helped, it was very therapeutic. It helped us get past it. And the way people supported us, the love. Lauren was a very loving person. And to see people do that to help us reach our goal of 106,000. So after we did that, then a couple years ago, my wife and I decided that we wanted to build something that would be here after we were gone. So we looked into the endowment funds. And so we established an endowment at Morgan State about 4 years ago. And we didn't ask for people's donations for that. We really decided that we could fund it ourselves. And so we set a goal of 25,000. But once we got to 25,000, we thought we could do more, and we said let's set another goal for 50,000, and that's when we started making people aware of it, and some people donated